Hey, welcome to today's video. I hope you are good. Now, hit that subscribe button and press that bell button. If you want to learn more about cryptocurrency, you should. Now hit that bell button as well. If you like this video and put a genuine comment, 500 likes, I will give out 0.2 Ethereum to a person who comments. Not a troll, genuine comment. So make sure you are that person. So, 10,000 XRP. Is it going to happen? Will it happen? My honest subjective thoughts about it coming up in a second. So let's go. Right, so on the screen you can see here a few little comments that have happened over the last week. I put a video out saying that 10,000 XRP, is it possible? And at the time, yes, I will be honest with you, it was a enticing title, but I didn't clickbait people into it to say that, oh, it's not going to happen if that X, Y, and Z. Clickbait is where it's totally different to the subject. I spoke about it pretty openly for a good 4 minutes. We're going to do it in much more detail, a lot more substance, and I want to make it very clear to the people who have been trolling me. Yeah, tough. You know, opinions hurt. YouTube is an opinionated platform, but this will be a very, very balanced approach as into, is XRP going to do it? If not, how far will it go? If it doesn't do it, you know, that sort of thing. But ultimately, I'm going to give a big slice of realism to the phrase of this kind of video, because a lot of people are getting hurt with XRP in terms of greed. I'm going to go into that. So, comments have gone now. New slate. If you did comment on that video, I would like you to watch this one and be nicer this time, because everyone's got an end goal in life, and XRP may be your end goal. But is $10,000 per XRP the end goal? Who knows? But let's start off with a big chunk of realism. I want to talk about what XRP is first. If you're unknown to the world of cryptocurrency and you stumbled upon this video in whatever time frame that you're in, welcome to whatever year you're in. And most importantly, you need to understand that XRP is a digitalized token for payments, cross-border payments, allowing us, people, normal people, camels and everything, donkeys, cats, dogs, to send money to another cat, camel, dog, person, human, whatever, for free, essentially, without waiting 3 to 4 days. The quickest way to send money these days is by jumping on a plane and going and then giving it to someone. That's scary. It's 2019. In reality terms, if you're not using crypto. Using cryptocurrency, however, 3 seconds for XRP. Even Nano and stuff like that is like 1 second, but Nano's not scaled up to the point of XRP. I'm going to come on to the scalability of that, what XRP could do in a second, but that is a reality of the situation. It's pretty crap. And I'm going to be honest with you, I like XRP. I do. I hold it. And I'm going to go through roughly my estimated amount of money that it could be worth in the end of this video, if you kind of want to understand the gravity of what we are talking about as an asset here that could be used. So let's talk about risk and reward first. A lot of people in the XRP groups, and it's very, very fluctuated between people who are very, very believable. They believe a lot in the XRP utility, the token. And it's the same with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has the people who believe in Bitcoin, and people have obviously the beliefs that other coins will do very, very well. I myself included. But the most important thing you need to remember is when you are risking your money in XRP or any other digital asset, it may not work. Okay, only put in profits, only put in money that you're willing to lose or whatever. And I started in cryptocurrency 3+ years ago now. And I bought Bitcoin when it was in the 3 figures. And whatever I've been using since that initial investment, I've grew into altcoins. I've made a lot more Bitcoin. I've made a lot more profits I can just throw around. I've got a small bag of XRP. It's not the biggest bag in the world, I'm not going to lie. But it's the money that I'm like, all right then, off it goes into the bag. And we'll wait for it to happen. So I want to bring up XRP Phoenix, XRP Deep Balls on, or Balls Deep or whatever. And this is, I don't know if it's for fame, it's not a shout out to the person, but just went balls deep in XRP, took out a loan for way too much he can afford to pay back, which is an issue in itself. But I'm not bragging or flexing here. My aim is this, to document my balls deep journey with this. I wouldn't class it as an educational resort. It's the sort of people that people would comment and copy probably. So if you are an XRP and you are telling people without any sort of reasons or substance in terms of why it could go to X, Y and Z of price, you shouldn't be doing it because you're not a financial advisor, neither am I. But I'm going to try and give a little bit of source to the matter that it could happen or it could not happen. So this is where I'm going with it. So the reasons why it could happen. XRP, okay, is a resource to send cross-border payments. The whole industry in money is huge, and SWIFT isn't that good. And neither is Visa, and neither is all these other banking systems that are quite slow and sluggish. Liquidity is king. The higher the price, the better the liquidity, right? We don't have that at the moment. However, what we do have is time on our hands. Time for the asset to grow in a mature price form, and also time of transaction. This is often overlooked. However many hours it takes in a day, 24, right? You're never going to get a transaction in fiat in 24 hours. You've got to consider at least 100 to 120 hours minimum for a transaction to go through with your fiat, which is quite scary. What happens there is you've got a market maker in a bank. They are securing the price of the asset at that price. There's fluctuations in the fiat world. If you've not looked at the sterling at the moment against the US dollar or even the euro, plummeting like a stone. There's volatility in the market, but the problem you've got is with cryptocurrencies, we don't have market makers to secure the price. We have time though. 3-second transaction time for XRP. Okay, why is that a good thing? Well, it secures a transaction in 3 seconds, so the volatility is a lot less. The money that you are sending will the money that people will get, which is perfect. So that is often overlooked. That is one very good reason why XRP will be used, but you've also got the use case of everything else in the world, all the assets. And I want to get out this article here and I'm going to show you a few little things. Now, this is, I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but we're looking at estimations of numbers of valuation of worth. If XRP is putting this money through and it is being used, XRP, I'm going to put a bet on with you now, will be more than 31 cents in a couple of years' time. That's just the fact. Because with cryptocurrencies, the more that's been used, volume going through it creates liquidity. Better liquidity means a bigger price, means more demand for the token, means it's more use case. Price, demand, supply. Make sense? And that comes to a mathematical sum. Now, I said at the start of this video, realism is required. Do not be risky. Only put in what you want to put in. I'm going to go to that at the end, and the bad points have been why it's kind of a bit far-fetched as a term of realism. But it's not, if that makes sense. So it's unlikely, but it's not impossible. That's what I need to say. So there you go. So in terms of what we've got in the world, roughly the amount of global money, okay, is approximately 36.8 trillion. So that is technically the total money of the world in depends of classify, when the money is considered as physical coins, banknotes, and the ones deposited in and out of savings accounts. Money that's actually there. That's physical. The amount is 90.4 trillion, as in, you know, when it's all included with everything else, okay? This obviously increases with other bits and pieces, okay? Now then, you've got other forms of money. Derivatives hold accounts of 544 trillion. So quite a lot. So that's derivatives, okay? Cool. And an estimation of 1.2 quadrillion high end, okay? The global stock market is worth roughly, at the moment, at the time of this article, 73 trillion. And yeah, that's quite large in reality. But you got to look at cryptocurrency. What is it? About 300 billion. Mental, isn't it, when you think of it that way? So there's definitely room to grow. Other things to understand is the global kind of commercial real estate, 215 trillion. And all this kind of good stuff is kind of interesting. Technology advancements has been used of Bitcoin approximately, this time of writing this was Bitcoin. So we've obviously moved up. Now, just remember those numbers. That is how much money we've got. In terms of that, liquidity-wise, you know that if it's going to be used, the XRP token will be worth a lot more. Obvious, I know it. But 10,000 per coin. I'm going to go through the bad points. Now, in terms of just ending on a good point, XRP is designed for scalability. They've got decimal points in place. They've got 6 millionth of whatever in terms of the coin. So it'll always be really, really low in price in terms of how it's done with fees. It's going to be always free. Even if XRP has 10,000 as a price, it will still be quite cheap due to the format of the coin, because it's quite a large supply. But supplies do matter when you look at investing, because you need to figure out a degree of realism. You're going to look like a bit of a turd if you're going to say, without any substance, that XRP is going to go to $10,000. That is a problem that I have with XRP holders. They do not back it up with a degree of realism. They just go, but if that and this. It needs to happen. Now, what I've just said there is all if, but, and when. If XRP is used, it could be used for a global scale. If. When? We don't know. In our lifetime? Who knows? You've got all these asset classes that are kind of out there that are worth a lot of money. They need an alternative method to be used quicker. XRP is giving it that option. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Then, your investment fails. But it has to happen for it to work. It doesn't just go up to $10,000 for no reason. So, in a degree of realism, we are looking at approximately a current supply. Now, one thing to remember, there's a de-inflationary model. So, a good point is that this current supply will get lower, okay, with XRP, which is good. But ultimately, there's still a lot of XRP held away from exchanges and stuff, which will eventually, hopefully, over time, increase liquidity and price action, meaning it'll be better to use. So let's look at the bad points. We're talking roughly a $420 trillion asset worth of XRP, which does sound incredibly far-fetched for one asset, which is crazy. Now, if I said to you 10 years ago, Bitcoin, will it be worth $10,000? You'd laugh, and you would, because it didn't have a use case. It didn't have that what if when scenario within it. It does now. It's already happened. We've been there, we've done it, we've doubled it. It's like, oh wow. But when you look at the realism of, will Bitcoin go to $1 million? You kind of go, possibly, yeah. Only because it's not as far-fetched with the numbers of supply. Realism matters. 17.8 trillion will be the overall asset value class of Bitcoin if it goes to $1 million. Doesn't sound that far-fetched in reality terms of you thinking that that is approximately double the valuation of gold at the moment. Will it surpass gold? Probably. I think it will. Personal opinion, not financial advice. That is a subjective opinion if you're wondering. Now, with that in mind, it doesn't sound as far-fetched, but when you add the fact that will XRP go to 10,000 from the point of where it is right now, you think, wow, because it's 420 trillion, which is higher than the real estate market, which does sound very, very far-fetched. So I don't think it's going to happen. Personal opinion, I think it's unlikely. Now, not to say that a valuation or appreciation of an asset is going to work. You can't say that. You can't say that it's not going to work because, you've got to kind of give it a chance. But you've also got to have a degree of realism to say that, well, actually, come on now. If we get 10% of the whole overall world, it's pretty cool. It'll be all right. It'll go up to whatever price it could go up to with the scalability within it, with the volatility and all that kind of good stuff that has been sorted with the price going up with liquidity. But the fundamentals are key. You need to look at the supplies of coins before you start making lavish predictions. A lot of people are getting burnt. We've already seen XRP Phoenix there. The chances are he could really get hurt, but the chances are he could also get very, very filthy rich. I hold XRP. Now, if XRP, the amount that I've got, is what, is in terms of that price. It's a lot of money. Now I've got roughly about 6,000 just sitting in a wallet, just like, yeah, whatever, just like see what happens. And that was my game about, what, 6 months ago. I went, I'm just going to put money in XRP. If it happens, it happens. And that was when like I did full research on it. I did my Q&A sort of like, oh, is it this, that, and the other. Good sort of analysis that you need to do when you buy any coin. But if we're talking, right, of a... Oops. Apologies. That's how much I would stand to make, which sounds absolutely boggling. And it probably is, because that is a massive amount of money in reality. But what bad point I'm going to say now is, will this be good for planet Earth? Because you've got a ton of XRP holders. 6,000 in XRP as it stands is not a lot, okay? And that's like, yeah, it is my second smallest bag in reality. I hold Bitcoin, I hold Litecoin, and I hold Ethereum. Okay, I also hold a small amount of XRP and a small amount of Pundy X, okay? Put it out there. Just because, why not? Very, very small amounts. Like, literally very, very small amounts in reality terms of what I've got sitting around, floating around, whatever's in my asset classes investments. But the fundamentals are, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I've lost a little bit of money, it doesn't matter. But the upside is huge. But if I'm going to be realistic on a price, I think 10,000 is too far out. I think the end game is there. It could go up to that point if it wants to, but I don't think it'll ever get there. I think, in my honest opinion, I think it's very, very unlikely. I do think it will go a lot higher than what people think it will. I've secretly been thinking that for a long time. I think $3 is just a little bit of the surface scratch. I think if XRP does do its what if and whens, and it manages to do it within the next 10 to 15, 20 years, I think it could be worth a lot more than what it is, because you've got supply coming down, you've got other partnerships, use cases, bank speed, development in technology. I think it will do very, very well. But do not get excited. Do not start taking loans out. Do not be an idiot. Do not do that, this, that, and the other. But the bad point is, you've got a ton of XRP holders, right? My small bag, 6,000, is not worth a lot these days in reality terms, because it's quite low price. Who knows what's going to be in 10 years' time? But you've got people who are holding loads more than me, loads more. What are they going to be doing with that money? It's going to be a ton of money coming into the world, a lot of wealth. But will we have an issue with spending, overspending? Will we have an issue of hyperinflation with assets getting cashed out into a certain asset? Fiat. Will this be the end of fiat? Will this be a different type of war of rich and poverty? We all know what happened in the stock market back in the earlier days, where, you know, price went boom. People got very, very wealthy overnight, and they didn't know what to do with it. They wasted it. They did this and they ended up in all kinds of horrible places. So will it happen again? Will we have car wars? Will we have people bidding against people for stupid assets, for stupid money? Because if you're holding right now 100,000 XRP, and XRP price goes up to even 1,000, you've got 100 million. That's a lot of money in reality terms, because you could have bought XRP at like 2 cents. You know, you could be holding it for a long time. So, you know, please just be a degree of realism when you're looking at these assets. Please understand how they work, and the main thing that you need to look at is the supplies of coins. Why is it going to go up? Why is it going to go down? If it's got a burning model, if it's got de-inflationary models. Realism is key. Now, I've explained some good points and bad points. Now, that doesn't mean hate me, but ultimately I think it's very unlikely that $10,000 is going to happen per coin. Man, imagine if it does. I will be giving away millions to certain people and a lot of charities, because it is a crazy amount of money. But fundamentals are key. Will it? Why will it? And when will it? So there you go. That is today's video. Rant done. Please do comment. Please do put a like on it. And I hope that I've given a balanced approach to this, that it could happen, but fundamentally also it could not happen. But I do think, honest opinion, XRP will be worth way more than this in the next 10 years.